How to rewire your brain for success. Interview with Dr. Tsai. Do you ever feel tired trying up so many things in life but you fail to achieve success? Sometimes we try so hard to figure out what we really want in life but end up feeling kind of lost. But it's not the end of the world. There are millions of people who wonder, and it's normal. And then there are better ways to go from that point of feeling lost to feeling success. If you'd like to learn tips on how to be successful by reconnecting with yourself, rewiring your brain, then stay tuned because we have an excellent guest today to share all her expertise and experiences with you. Thank you, Dr. Sai, for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
You're welcome. And everybody, welcome to Happy and Healthy Mind. My name is Dr. Rosina Lakhani, and over the last 20 years, I have been serving as a medical doctor specializing in psychiatry, a best-selling author, a transformative speaker, and an employee wellness consultant. I believe that our mind is the software that runs the hardware of your brain and your body. Therefore, I share the practical tips for your mental fitness so you can perform and live your best life without burnout and unnecessary suffering. Please consult your healthcare professional for any medical advice. If you find this content helpful, then join in our mission of eradicating preventable suffering by liking, subscribing, and sharing so more people can live their best life with health and happiness. And Dr. Cindy Sai is a board certified internal medicine doctor, mindfulness teacher, speaker, and life coach who helps unfulfilled high achievers avoid burnout, and live their best life with ease. As a physician, she saw the impact of chronic stress on the body and wanted to do more than just prescribe medication as band aid. Through her own healing journey, she has explored and trained in a wide range of therapeutic modalities and emphasizes wellness and caring for the person as a whole. So, Dr. Sai, how did this topic become important for you? Tell us your own story, before and after.
Yeah, absolutely. So, ever since I was young, I was a perfectionist and I would be focused on doing all the right things and just wanting to make sure that I was checking all the boxes. And my dad was a surgeon, and so I was exposed to medicine from a very young age. And I was very health conscious, and I really wanted to help people. And so I thought being a physician, being a doctor made a lot of sense.
Right,
so,
right, right.
so I was really focused, worked very hard to go through all of my medical school and training, and went to the top schools like Hopkins and Dartmouth, just continuing to check all the boxes, being this high achiever. And every step of the way, there was always a little part of me that was like, huh, this is exhausting, right?
Right,
Training is
right,
is tough.
right.
But then as you get closer, you're also like, okay, well, there's a light at the end of the tunnel.
Correct, correct. Yeah.
And so I did residency in internal medicine, and I knew that I wanted to be in an outpatient setting because I really wanted to focus on wellness and
Mm-hmm,
helping people feel better
mm-hmm,
and really developing those relationships.
uh-huh.
And so I started working as a primary care physician and thinking that I was going to be good, right? It's
Right,
like
right.
done.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I realized that even though, yes, my team, my practice, patients, everyone, people were great, but there was just something inside me. I just realized that I wasn't fully fulfilled or happy.
Uh-huh.
And I think it was because I would be getting frustrated when patients came in with these like pains and ailments, and it came from other parts of their life, right? That they weren't paying attention to.
Right, right.
And I know, in your work, you see the importance of really looking at the whole picture.
Correct.
And so often we're conditioned to look for that quick fix. And we want a medication, we want a pill, and all these things. And yes, they can be helpful, especially for symptoms. But I really wanted to offer healing on a deeper level and to look at the person as a whole. So I was feeling really stuck myself because, all of medical training is very much about looking at disease and illness and sick care. And I got sick myself. And it really prompted me to pause and slow down and to think about what does healing mean? And I learned that there were so many other modalities out there that can be very helpful. And I came across coaching a couple years back. And through coaching, learned so many tools and skills that really, really shifted my whole perspective and allowed me to transcend my circumstances. And it was really inspiring for me because I knew that I had to share this with other people.
Right, right. Yeah.
So I made the decision to transition into coaching and speaking so that I can share this message and have a bigger impact in this way.
Yeah, that is wonderful. And it's so much parallel to my story in terms of me getting sick because of the stress and wanting to take these preventive tools to people so that people don't have to suffer unnecessary. Like you saw a lot of people with medical illnesses, like body illnesses. I see a lot of people with brain illnesses, like, depression and anxiety and insomnia, and all these things kind of get really exacerbated when people don't manage their stress well.
Absolutely.
And so, we were just kind of laughing that how stress doctors also become stressed because because we are also human being, and then we have this first-hand experience of being the high achiever and being the perfectionist and trying to do all the things and then feeling stressed. So we had to learn these tools to be able to maintain our sanity. Right? And so you want to share with other people. And so before we go into some of the tips that our audience can use, tell me, how did your life change after you applied some of these wellness practices in your own life? How did the life changed?
Yeah, I think my life changed in so many ways, and I'm also a different person in many ways. And I think my friends, my family have definitely noticed the difference. And I think I've always been a very positive person. I was always very into self-help and self-development.
Uh-huh.
But I think as I really dove into mastering these tools and skills, coaching, and all of these modalities, being open and implementing it into my life, there's a sense of peace and calm and confidence and just grounding. And just, I think it's because I'm so connected to who I am now.
Mm-hmm.
And with that, you really get to enjoy your life more. You're
Right,
happier, you're more fulfilled.
right.
And I just feel so much better
Yeah,
and really want to share this with other people because we're all human, as you mentioned. Like, we it's possible for everyone. it's
right,
it's a
right,
process, and that's why I think it's so important for us to talk about these things so people can learn about them and start
right.
to implement and see the improvements in their life too.
Yeah, we all, I see so much the problem that happens because of that disconnect. Like one of the programs that I was doing for the healthcare professionals, like, so the interviewer asked me, so how do healthcare professionals feel stress? And so I laughed that they don't feel stress. They just disconnect from their
Yes.
self, and they just kind of go, helping, 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 doing one thing after the other, and they actually do not feel it because they kind of disconnect. And
Mhm.
somehow in our society, this has become a norm that you disconnect from your own feelings and you disconnect from your own self, so you could present yourself as a whole to help no, they don't present as a whole, you just be there for other people. But
Yeah.
then we forget that when we don't present as a whole, and that when we don't care about how we feel and not stay in this alignment, that creates that conflict, and that's what leads to burnout. That's what feel leads to people feeling lack of passion, because
Mhm.
like there's a high level of burnout, and then we go into these professions because we care, we have so much compassion, and then when we are so stressed out and we don't take care of ourselves, we reach to the point where we start losing this passion. We kind of reach to a what we call compassion fatigue.
Yeah,
I did another
absolutely.
program on compassion fatigue, but let's not kind of digress into that today, and let's kind of bring in them. So all these tools that you teach have also helped you in addition to your clients. Can you teach some of those tools to our audience so we all can also benefit?
Yes. So I really appreciate what you shared because so much of my work is also about helping people make that mind body connection,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because I think we often forget that the mind and body are connected. We
Right,
think of
right,
them
right,
as separate things.
right,
And the easiest example I always give is like if you're about to maybe give a speech or, do something new, and I wonder if you ever feel butterflies in your stomach or if you're nervous, like, just you're nauseous. And it's because when your mind is being anxious and all these things, your body responds, right?
right,
So it's
right,
very much connected.
right,
And I totally agree that as a society, we've really lost that connection with ourselves. And a lot of my own personal journey and healing is really looking at this um, process of people pleasing that I've had to really work on. And I think, it's interesting you mentioned that because a lot of times we have this idea of what we should do and how we should be.
right,
And so we show up in that way. And the problem is we don't often pause to question. It's, is this really who I am? Is this serving me? Right. And also, what's interesting to think about is when you're showing up as this version who you think other people want to see and they like you, but that version is not who you really are, that's going to be this cognitive dissonance, right? You're not being in alignment with who you are. And for sure, that leads to many issues down the line with dissatisfaction and all these things. So I just wanted to put that out there that it is so important to really be authentic to who you are.
right, right.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's a lot of talk about being authentic and not be people pleaser, but there's another side of it. And let me just play a double devil advocate. Oh, let's ask the audience that are present today and ask how many people do you feel that being a people pleaser is a good thing or bad thing? And so write down one in the comment section if you think being a people pleaser is a good thing, and write down two if you think it's not a good thing. All right. What do you think, Cindy?
Um, well, I think it's really challenging when you're living life as a people pleaser.
Okay.
So,
And I have to say that sometimes you have to be a people pleaser. Okay. So so I think extreme of both ends are not good. Okay.
right.
If you are so much people pleaser that you forget yourself and then you start behaving like somebody that you are not, then it's negative and it causes both mind and body problems. But if you just take away, okay, don't listen to anybody
Right, right.
and just do whatever your mind says, then you're not going to listen to your parents, you're not going to listen to your doctors, you're not going to listen to anybody, because you want to be, you want to feel good in the moment. And so you're going to go and drink that alcohol, and you are going to do those drugs, and you are going to just, sleep off during the workday, or play that video games for 8 hours because that's what you feel like doing, right? And so I really want to clarify that when you are saying that you don't want to be people pleaser, you mean to say that people pleaser to the point of neglecting yourself.
Thank you so much for clarifying. Yes, absolutely. Because, we are all connected, right? And so I think it's just important to have that awareness of, you know, where you are, how you're coming across, and also just knowing that you get to choose and being intentional about your actions, your behaviors, and all of that.
Right.
Mhm.
When you are connected with yourself, then you can. So, like I say that there has to be this balance of me and we. Okay.
Mhm.
You need to be aware of how it is impacting you, but you also need to be aware of how it is impacting people around you.
Mhm.
and create that balance. That is very important, but it all comes from this increased awareness, being present in the moment, being fully present, what we call mindfulness. So you were going to talk about that, so I'll let you have the stage. Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah,
So
so
I really see mindfulness as the process of paying attention to the present moment without judgment. And it sounds simple, but it's not easy. And so often, I think we don't realize that we are not actually being present. For example, anytime you're worrying about the future, or if you're replaying your past, like at the end of the day, you're laying in bed and you're like, oh, I should have said this, I shouldn't have done that, right? You're looking to the past and you're no longer present. And the reason mindfulness is so helpful is because that the present is all we have. And when you're in the past, when you're in the future, when you're somewhere else, you can't change it. And so you have no control. And all that does is lead to more stress and anxiety. And it's this ongoing cycle, right? And then we see it in both the mind and the body. You're feeling stress, you're more anxious. And then the body responds, the muscles tense up, the cortisol stress hormones released, heart rates rising, like all of these things.
yeah.
And then it's like causing more stress. And there's just this ongoing snowball effect,
Right.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. People develop acidity and migraine headaches and all these, like, psychosomatic illnesses,
Mhm.
because mind body cells and kind of rewire and kind of share us a little bit in terms of how being present can help you rewire your brain and how
Mhm.
that can lead to success.
Yeah. So, a couple things. So, first thing with the just a simple tool and practice is the act of breathing. Sounds very simple, but so
Breathing
often
all
I
the
find
time.
that we don't, yes, we breathe, right? It's automatic, but we're not actually paying attention to it. And so I always encourage people just throughout your day to take 5 seconds, 10 seconds to take a few intentional breaths. And one of my favorite breathing techniques is called the cleansing breath,
Mhm.
which is where you inhale through the nose and then you exhale through an open mouth, letting it all go. Okay. And like with every inhale, feeling your chest expand. And with every exhale, feel your stress just like let go and release. And anytime you can do that, you feel the sense of grounding, like you're coming back into your body. And that reminds you that you are safe and that it's okay. Because a lot of times when we're in stress, we are in our heads, right? The stress activates the fight or flight system, the sympathetic nervous system. And then that kind of creates all of this tension and all the things. But how breathing helps is because it actually activates the parasympathetic system, which is in charge of the relaxation response. And so it will turn off that stress response. And so, specifically, through the vagus nerve activation, right, which runs through the chest. And so that's why taking deep breaths is helpful because it'll activate that vagus nerve response. So breathing is one of the simplest tools that I encourage people to do so that they can stay calm and be more relaxed. And really getting into this idea of rewiring your brain, it's a process, but it's absolutely possible. And so often, in order to rewire your brain, you have to first know where you're at, right? And so that's why mindfulness is so key, because I think a lot of times we don't realize that the brain has a conscious side and a subconscious side. And we think that we are in control. But the studies have shown that it's actually our subconscious mind that's in control, like over 90% of the time. And the subconscious mind is very much rooted in our survival mechanisms and instincts and things like that. So, how mindfulness can help is when you actually can pay attention to your thoughts to how you're feeling in your body, that points you to, what's going on. And then you can actually intentionally create different options instead. And then through repetition and through really questioning and inquiry, you can bring in those new patterns instead. And we know that with neuroplasticity, it's very possible for the brain to change, right? So, what it is that up until this point, there have been certain programming, right, in the mind based on your cultural beliefs, like upbringing, whatever your environment. And those have been with you for whatever number of years. And so we have to learn to let go of those and then bring in new ones instead that will set you up for success. And then keep focusing on that so that it becomes ingrained and your new default.
Wonderful. Yeah, as you're describing, I feel like, this brain is these wires all over between the neurons. And then because the wires were connected this way or that way, disconnecting here and connecting here by practicing new patterns, by being present in the moment. And so that could lead to success. How is success and mindfulness related?
Yeah, well, I think people define success in different ways. And I think it continues to change depending on where you're at. I really think we're here because we all have our own gifts to share. And I think it's really about being able to tap into that wisdom that you have and to be able to bring that in a way that feels good to you and also to serve other people. And so I think mindfulness is key because you really have to be present to know what's going on, right? And being open and honest. And I mentioned the part about being in non-judgment, which is a really key component of mindfulness that is so much easier said than done.
Right,
Because
right. Our brain keeps on judging everything.
yeah. And so it's about noticing this pattern that, when are we in judgment, and being curious, like, why is this coming up? And so often you'll see the same patterns come up again and again. And it's because it's the programming from before, right? It's so deeply rooted. So that, when you're able to be open and just notice things, then you have so much more possibility because you're not limiting yourself based on the judgments or whatever preconceived notions you have.
Wonderful, wonderful. So when you're having fun, time flies, and I didn't realize. So let me ask you, do you have any take home message for our audience to take with them?
Yes. So I hope everyone knows that it's absolutely possible to change. And I know we talked a bit about just rewiring your brain for success. And I think it's so important to know that it's possible to have what you want. And so often we limit ourselves because we're in this comfort zone. And the things you want, the things you dream about, they're right outside the comfort zone.
Right.
So, learn how to manage your brain and really make this mind body connection and be present. And so that you can actually set yourself up for success to have all the things that you are meant to do and have. So, really want to encourage people to be open and to learn about all these tools and techniques that we both know are so effective and helpful.
Wonderful, wonderful. And so if people want to reach you and learn more about your book and all the work, wonderful work that you do with the coaching and teaching, how can they reach you?
Yes. So I am so excited to share that I just released my first book. It's called So Much Better, and it's a number one bestseller. And it's life changing strategies to develop calm, confidence, and curiosity to become your own inspiring success story. So make sure to grab that on Amazon. It's on sale. Really can't wait to hear what you think about it. And then otherwise, yes, my website, cindytsaimd.com. And I'm active on all the social media channels at Cindy Tsai MD. So I look forward to connecting with you all. Thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful. And Dr. Tsai also has gift from some of the tools from her book that is coming on our website. Please sign up at happyandhealthymind.com and you can click that resources button and it will take you to all the resources from all the guests that come on this podcast. And if you are like me and you need the reminders for text for the text reminders for future programs and these resources, then you can text the word joyful to number 38470 and we'd be happy to send you the reminders and resources links. So let me leave you with this note. Every day is a new day. Every day you get an opportunity to make the choices. Today you learn a couple of new techniques, and are you going to just let it go from 1 year and out of the other year, or are you going to start practicing and changing your life 1% every day? So on that note, stay safe, happy and healthy, and until next time, Dr. Rozina, and thank you, Dr. Tsai.
Thank you.